So let's see. It is kind of have like a kind of funny look to it, doesn't it? I think that'll be easy to fix. Okay, so let's start a game. And you're saying if I hit both flippers, it'll reset? Yep. All right, here, you press the right one. Yeah, there you go. That took all of one try, right? Wow. A little chatter. There's like distortion or something in the display. Let's just try doing this. Just kind of reseat them. Notice I don't pull them off all the way. Just do that. And I actually have the game on when I'm doing this too. And this one. And this one. And magic. Went away. It's missing a line in the top of the display though. Yeah, so we lost all that distortion by resetting the ribbon cables. For the reset problem, let's check the 5 volt on the driver board. 4.9. That is below what I'd like to see. I don't like to see anything below about 4.92. Now that's just on the driver board. Then if we go over to the CPU board and check it, we get 4.83. So we're losing a little bit over the connectors. Let's just do a reseat on each one. See if I can identify which connector is the problem. See, that brought it up a little bit. This one here, that brought it up none. So we're losing a little bit this connector, not a lot. I think the best solution here, 486 versus 490. So we're not losing that much, so I don't think it's a connector problem. Instead, I think we're going to do some work to the driver board to bring the voltage up. This is stuff I'm going to replace on the driver board: the main filter cap for the 12 volts, a secondary filter cap for the 12 volts, and I'm going to add a resistor to ground for the voltage regulator right here. So we're going to replace a cap here, and then a little cap here, and then on the back side of the board add the resistor. So I removed the C5 capacitor, that's this large mammoth thing, and I also cut a trace right here that goes to the regulator. You can see I did a cut right there, and what this is this is a ground trace going to the regulator. We need to cut that, and you'll see why in a second, but I've done those two things. I just have to pull this capacitor out because I'm going to replace this too. And this capacitor is, what is that one? C4. So we're going to take that one out too. Here's the back side of the board. Here's the new capacitor we put in, the big one, the big 15,000 microfarad. Here is the regulator, the two bolting points for the regulator. And what I've done is I've cut the trace here and here to isolate the case of the metal regulator from ground. So it used to be if I went like this and put my meter across here to ground, you know, we'd get a buzz tone, but now we get no buzz tone, and that's exactly what I want. And I'll show you a little modification that I'm going to do that's going to raise the output of this voltage regulator. So instead of getting 4.9 volts, we're going to get like 5.2 volts using a resistor. I've completed my modifications, isolated the ground on this bolt of the voltage regulator, and then ran a 22 ohm resistor between it and the ground plane. Now over here, since it's cut, you come up to here, and I ran a little bridge right here, which was just a lead coming off the resistor. I just tied across that. That's just to get this side hooked up to ground. Maybe not needed, but I do it anyways. The other thing you can see, this is the capacitor that I did, this being the positive lead, and that services this bridge rectifier BR2 up here. Notice I did not replace the bridge rectifier. I'm not a big fan of doing that. I don't think the bridges tend to be the problem. It's more of a capacitor problem when you get these resets, in my opinion. So what I've done though, just for insurance, is I've doubled up the traces with jumper wires between the capacitor, the plus lead of the capacitor, the plus lead of the bridge, minus lead of the capacitor, the minus lead of the bridge. I always do that. Now we're just going to check our work with our meter. I'll put one lead here, try and hold it, and one lead here, and you can see that I am getting 22 ohms. So it's not a direct connect to ground. Instead, it's going, in fact, through this resistor. And again, if I didn't do that cut on this side of the board, that was right between the regulator and the capacitor that I replaced that's in there, this case would still be connected to ground. And also here's that C4 capacitor that I replaced, and I also upped the value of this. This was normally 100 microfarad. I made it 470 microfarad. So with all that, we can put the board back in and check the 5 volts and see where we're at. I've got the driver board installed and the game on. So let's do some voltage testing here. Go to TP2, and we can see that we're now at 5.24 volts. So adding that resistor has dramatically increased 5 volts from 4.9 to 5.24 volts. And if we go over to the CPU board and look at that, we're at 5.21 volts. So party on, we've got good 5 volts. We're not going to have this reset problem. Now, was this a bit of an extreme thing to do? Yeah, but this guy's like 50 miles from where I live, and you know, the typical thing where guys replace the one capacitor and then BR2, which is right here. You know, I don't always buy into that formula for fixing resets. I just don't think it's always the best way. This will pretty much guarantee that he's going to be all good to go. So the only thing I got left to do is he's got some burnt GI connectors. We'll fix that up for him and play test. All right, there we go. Hit that flipper for me, Jerry. Just hit the flipper. In unison with me. Just keep pounding on it. Just keep. Okay, that's good. All right. Yeah, we solved that problem. Yeah, we solved it good.